Chapter 3. Knowledge as the New Commons, How Open Access Becomes the Engine of Civilization. One of the library that tried to hold the world. Legend says that in the 3rd century BCE, ships entering the port of Alexandria were searched not for contraband but for books. Any scrolls found on board were seized, copied by royal scribes, and added to the great library's collection. The originals were returned, the copies stayed. It was the first large-scale attempt to turn private knowledge into a public commons. For a brief, dazzling period, scholars from Greece, Egypt, Persia, and India worked side by side, translating and comparing their sciences. They didn't call it open access, but the principle was identical: knowledge grows when hoarded less. The library's eventual destruction became a metaphor for what happens when civilization forgets that rule. 2. From land to language. The word commons originally referred to shared pasture. Every villager could graze animals there without fee. When nobles enclosed the fields during the 16th century, peasants lost not only land but livelihood. The same pattern has repeated with ideas, enclosure by copyright, paywalls, and proprietary software. In each age, those who controlled access to the commons, whether soil or syntax, controlled the economy. But knowledge, unlike land, expands when shared. Its true scarcity is artificial, created by law or habit, not by nature. 3. The printing revolution. When Johannes Gutenberg refined movable type around 1450, Europe's book prices fell by 90% within 50 years. Literacy rates doubled over the next century. Ideas once confined to monasteries spilled into markets and taverns. Martin Luther's Reformation spread not because of theology alone, but because pamphlets could be printed faster than priests could denounce them. Every technological jump in access, printing press, telegraph, radio, internet, produced a social one, broader participation in knowledge and power. The history of freedom is largely the history of cheaper copies. 4. The Enlightenment and the birth of public knowledge. By the 18th century, coffeehouses functioned as open universities. In London's Royal Society, scientists published experiments so others could replicate or refute them, transparency as method. Encyclopedists like Diderot compiled all known facts into volumes sold by subscription, betting that collective reason could outshine divine decree. The idea of public education grew from the same soil, that democracy required citizens capable of critical thought. Knowledge became infrastructure. 5. The digital renaissance. The Internet resurrected Alexandria in code. Wikipedia, launched in 2001, now hosts over 6 million English-language articles written by volunteers and consulted more than 1 billion times each month. Studies comparing its accuracy with traditional encyclopedias find comparable error rates. Its annual budget, less than that of a single large university library, supports the largest collaborative knowledge project in history. Similarly, open-source software underpins most of the world's technology. The Linux operating system runs servers, Android phones, and supercomputers. These tools were built not by corporations but by communities, motivated by curiosity and shared utility. Canada contributes heavily. Universities from Toronto to Montreal maintain open data repositories. Federal agencies publish statistics through the Open Government Portal. Indigenous organizations are developing open access archives of language and culture. Openness has become the world's most productive business model precisely because it isn't one. 6. The economics of openness. Conventional economics treats knowledge as a club good, non-rival but excludable. Yet when access barriers fall, the value of each idea rises exponentially through reuse. Empirical evidence. The Human Genome Project released its data freely. Within 5 years, open data enabled 1,000 new biotech patents and billions in industry growth. The European Space Agency's Copernicus program shares satellite data at no cost. Analysts estimate an annual return of €3 billion in innovation. A 2022 OECD review found that open access research increases citation and commercial application rates by 50 to 60%. Openness accelerates diffusion, reduces duplication, and democratizes discovery. Hoarding slows it all. 7 of the digital enclosures. Yet the digital commons is fragile. Corporations now own much of the world's information infrastructure, and subscription barriers have crept back in. Academic publishers charge universities millions for journals whose research was publicly funded. Data harvested from citizens fuels targeted advertising rather than collective understanding. Without governance, openness becomes exploitation. A true commons requires rules of reciprocity, what Elinor Ostrom called self-governing institutions that balance access with accountability. Transparency must include consent. 8. Knowledge as renewable resource. Unlike oil or minerals, ideas regenerate with use. Teaching, sharing, translating, all multiply rather than deplete them. Economists describe this as non-rivalrous consumption. When one person learns, others lose nothing. That property makes education the most sustainable industry imaginable. A national open education platform would simply align policy with physics, treat learning as a renewable resource, harvested responsibly and replanted continuously. 9. Building the 21st century commons. Picture a federal learning platform modeled on open-source principles. Every publicly funded course, textbook, and dataset is released under a Creative Commons license. Universities, indigenous institutes, and private creators contribute modules reviewed for accuracy and cultural respect. Citizens earn microcredentials and share projects the way developers share code. Reputation replaces tuition as the main currency. Such a system would cut duplication of curricula across provinces, ensure equal access regardless of income or geography, and convert every learner into a potential teacher, knowledge recycling at national scale. It would also make the moral economy visible. The taxpayers who fund research finally gain direct access to its fruits. 10. Case studies in collective intelligence. Estonia integrates free digital skills training into its e-governance infrastructure, achieving near-universal digital literacy. Finland's Elements of AI course, released free worldwide, has taught over 1 million people. Singapore's Skills Future platform offers every adult credits for lifelong learning. Over 80% of citizens have participated. Each proves that when learning is open, innovation follows. Canada's broadband reach and bilingual culture position it ideally for a continental version, a learning commons of the North. 11. Governance of the commons. Openness needs guardians. A national platform could adopt a tri-council model. Academic council ensures quality and citation integrity. Community council represents learners and indigenous knowledge holders. Ethics council audits privacy, inclusivity, and algorithmic fairness. Together they would embody Ostrom's principles, clearly defined boundaries, participatory decision-making, graduated sanctions for abuse, and mechanisms for conflict resolution. Freedom with feedback. 12. The return on reciprocity. Every citizen who learns something freely contributes to the public's collective intelligence. Measured nationally, that's an asset. The World Bank already treats human capital as wealth. Education platforms increase it faster than any natural resource can. Even modest projections show impact. If Canada improved average digital literacy by 1 competency level, productivity could rise 3%, roughly $70 billion annually. That's before counting social cohesion or civic engagement. The commons pays dividends in both dollars and democracy. 13. The cultural dimension. Openness also changes identity. The printing press created readers, the digital commons creates collaborators. When knowledge is public, expertise becomes participatory. Teachers become guides, citizens become co-creators. Curiosity turns from hobby to civic virtue. Advertising once sold status through consumption, a learning commons sells it through contribution. The most admired Canadians could be those who share the most insight, not those who own the most assets. 14. The paradox of abundance. Our species now produces more information every 2 years than in all previous human history combined. The challenge is not scarcity but sorting. The role of a national platform is curation, transforming data into understanding. Without it, the commons collapses under its own weight. With it, abundance becomes advantage. 15. Closing argument. The story that began in Alexandria continues online. Every age has built a new library out of its best technology. Today's shelves are digital, and their stewardship must be collective. A federally funded open education platform is not radical, it's restoration. It reclaims knowledge from private enclosures and returns it to the ecosystem that created it, the public. The commons, after all, is not a place but a practice, the decision, repeated daily, to share what we know so that others may build what we cannot yet imagine. That decision, made at national scale, is how civilizations endure. End of Chapter 3. Knowledge as the New Commons. Chapter 4. The Economics of Education, Measuring the Return on Learning. 1. The Spreadsheet Epiphany.